Hi, this is Ken, the Rist Innovations. Today I'd like to talk about how to install the 7 best upgrades for your table saw for improved performance, reliability, and safety. I've saved the best one for last, so let's go ahead and get started.
Number 1. Improved saw blade guard and riving knife. If you have a newer saw, you should already have a blade guard and riving knife or splitter, so you should be all set. But there are a lot of us out there that have older saws that are either missing these items or they were in such poor design that we haven't used them.
Now, for my vintage Delta Unisaw, it came with a combo splitter and blade guard. The problem with this design is that it was very difficult to mount and unmount from the table. I, like many people, didn't use it. However, I eventually knew that I needed to try to figure out a way to have that added protection of using a blade guard. And that's when I ran across this company called Shark Guard. They make a variety of blade guards and riving knives for many different manufacturers of table saws. So let me just quickly show you how easy this is to install. The other benefit, just to quickly mention, is they provide 2 different thicknesses of riving knives, which are important. This is for the full kerf, and then I have one for the thin kerf blades. So I have the tooling already down inside here, and this just slips down inside, drops down. Then you mount this tooling on top, and then the blade guard just slips over this down, and you're all set. The other advantage is it has a port here that you can attach a dust collector hose to, and this particular design even has a flashlight, so it's easier to see the blade when you're pushing your workpiece through. Speaking of blade guards, you should always use a blade guard whenever possible. Some designs, the riving knives, are separate from the blade guard. In that case, you might consider upgrading your saw to install one of those overhead blade guards, because they make it easier to move out of the way when you need to. The most important thing about the blade guard is it offers a level of protection between you and the spinning blade. And so if there was a kickback, or if you inadvertently got too close to the blade, this would prevent you from having a serious injury. The other thing it offers is that it prevents chips and debris from being thrown back at you. And then lastly, it offers dust collection, in this case here as I'm showing, and that's another benefit.
Number 2. Overhead light and dust collection hose boom arm.
Since my new blade guard has a dust hose connection, I built an overhead light and dust collection hose boom arm. So let's take a closer look at the details of this. I made it out of 1-inch square extruded aluminum because I wanted it to be as slim as possible, rather than have a clunky large boom arm in my finished basement. I mounted a plastic channel so that it would hold my dust extractor hose. I mounted this LED light underneath the channel, and then I attached everything to the wall, including adding some pivot points that will allow me to swing this arm either over my table saw or over my outfeed table / workbench, and that way I can move my light around.
This is how the boom arm moves from the table saw to my outfeed / assembly table.
I also added this small cable and attached it to the arm just to give added strength to be able to hold the weight of the light and the hose. And this has worked out quite well.
Number 3. Zero clearance throat plate. This has a couple of benefits, including keeping small parts from getting stuck in the opening, and also it improves tear out of your workpiece because it supports the wood fibers during the cut. I bought this blank throat plate from Shark Guard. To cut the slot from the table saw, I secured a throat plate by moving the fence over part of it and using a strong magnet on the other side. I slowly bring the blade up into the throat plate, cutting the slot. Next, I used the jigsaw to expand the slot so the riving knife will fit. Number 4. Crosscut sled or sliding table.
So the crosscut sled allows you to cut much wider pieces of wood safely. And in my particular case, I've adjusted my end feed table such that it acts as a positive stop. Let me show you what I mean. the runners are actually hitting the outfeed table, which is preventing me from pushing this too far, which would expose me to the blade coming through.
An expensive alternative is a sliding table, which really helps with large sheets of material. Number 5, Benchtop Tools Caddy. It's really important that your push sticks and other safety gear are readily accessible to your table saw. If you aren't careful, you might even start cutting a workpiece and realize you don't have your push stick handy. That's why I built this Benchtop Tools Caddy for my table saw. It's made of scrap 3/4 inch thick and 1/2 inch thick plywood, and it fits under the lip of my fence, so it floats over the tabletop. It holds my newly created push blocks, my favorite commercial push sticks, and my featherboard hack. I also made a tray to hold my pencil, tape measure, and I have room to add a couple more items. They are secured in this foam that has layers so you can cut out the profile of your tool and form a nice little nest. Number 6, improved emergency stop. For my older saw, it has a standard magnetic on-off switch. I wanted something bigger so that I could shut off the saw with my knee, as well as not have to fumble around trying to find the switch when I needed to turn it off, especially if there was an urgent need to shut the saw off. I built this paddle out of a few scraps of wood, painted it red, and mounted it to my switch using strong, double-sided tape. It really works great.
Tell me more, table saw man.
Number 7, the Json stock guides. I saved my favorite for last. I feel they are the most important table saw upgrade you can do, right behind a good blade guard and riving knife combination. They help prevent kickback, and they provide an improved cut with less burning and blade marks because they keep the workpiece tight against the fence. If you were to visit most production shops, they are using power feeders that offer the same features, so I view the Json stock guides as a poor man's version of the power feeders. Let's talk about how I mounted the stock guides to my fence.
So in order to mount this Json stock guide rail to my unique fence situation, I have an original Delta Unifence, and then a long time ago I mounted a piece of extruded aluminum channel to the Unifence. So I have to take care of this gap here. So I have a piece of aluminum that is 3/8 inch thick that I will be mounting, and that will give me a nice level platform that now I can mount the Json guide rail to.
Here, I'm drilling holes into my adapter plate so I can mount the Json rail to my fence.
So I've just installed the Json stock roller guides to my Delta Unisaw Unifence, and I am very impressed with the quality of construction. Let me point out a few of the features. So first, Json recommends that you set the angle of the roller guides to approximately 60 degrees. And the key to the design of the tool here is these little rubber rollers here. They only spin in one direction. So as you're looking at it this way, they only spin clockwise, not counterclockwise. So that will really aid in preventing kickback. The other feature is that the rollers are tilted 5 degrees toward the fence. And so I'll show you in a minute, but when you push your workpiece through, it's constantly moving your piece and keeping it up against the fence as you move it through your cut, and it's a fantastic feature. Also, Json recommends to set the front roller so that it's about 2 inches in front of the blade, and on the back roller that it's 2 inches beyond the back of the blade. So now let me show you this close-up shot of the effectiveness of how this 5-degree roller tilted towards the fence works. I've intentionally left a large gap here between the fence and the workpiece. So now I'm just going to push forward, and you can see how the roller causes the workpiece to be drawn towards the fence, and then once it gets to the fence, it maintains that tight fit as it continues through the cut. So it's a very effective design. So you can store the roller guides in this position when you're not using them. However, in my case, they still overhang the fence because my unifence is so skinny that I was not able to mount this further to the right. And so an option for me is to just loosen these two little knobs, and this slides right out. And the other advantage is that I could use this track for mounting other fixtures. If you like this video, I have a subliminal message for you to consider subscribing to my channel and also hitting the like button on this video. I really appreciate it because your actions will help grow my channel and will allow me to continue to bring you entertaining videos. One of my next videos will be on the best miter saw upgrades, and when it's available, that link will be here. In the meantime, if you'd like to watch my most popular table saw video, that link is here. Thanks for watching.